YouTube, how's everything going? I decided that I was going to make this video because, I've been hearing a lot of ladies locking their hair, they color their hair. And I just want to give some information that I feel is kind of pertinent to, what's going on here. Now, as you can tell from my last update, I was planning on trying to not color my hair, but I lost out on that one. So what I'm doing is, about to recolor my hair, and I just wanted to give a little bit of maybe well-needed advice, unwanted advice, I don't know, way, somebody may take things, but I'm just trying to help people when they color their hair. And I guess, well, it makes you an authority. Well, I'm not an authority because, but for over 20 years, I've been a hairdresser, a licensed hairdresser, and I say since '81 in California, and since about 17 years in Oregon. So I was licensed in both states. So, I've done my share of hair coloring in those years, and products, I can pretty much try to help you with, if that's your choice to use. The first thing I want to talk about, I've never used it, but black henna. There's no such thing as natural black henna. Henna is in shades of red and brown, natural colors. Black chemicals have been added to it. I'm going to post a link, in the description box about a young lady that does henna tattoos on the skin, and pretty much what she's saying will cover the henna that you put on your hair, because you have to realize that, if it's not natural, they've had to add chemicals to it to make it be black, and it's not healthy for you, it's not healthy for your skin, allergic reactions are possible with any product, but you know what you're dealing with, and by taking those precautions ahead of time, you can probably save yourself a lot of hassles and problems, later on, sensitivities and allergic reactions and things such as that. Another thing is products that claim to be, I guess you would think it's not as serious or as harsh as other products like semi-permanent, demi-permanent, anything like that. Products that have anything that says like permanent in it or semi or whatever, semi-permanent will last, they say 6 to 8 weeks depending on how you wash your hair. If you don't wash your hair every few days, then it'll last. But there's another provision in there for a semi-permanent hair color, is that if you have gray hair, the amount of gray hair will influence the coverage that you get on your hair, because if you have a lot of gray, I can tell you right now, because gray hair is so resistant to everything, and we all know that, that has gray hair, that the gray hair has a mind of its own, it does what it wants to do, and it'll take as much color as it feels it can, because it's so coarse, and so resistant to everything, it'll pretty much just rinse off or be very, very light, Any powders or anything like that, like the Bign, B-I-G-N, permanent. You may not have a bottle of peroxide, but I was looking at a video last night, and this young lady was putting this on her hair, and You know, it's a little bitty bottle, but she, you know, put in the footnotes that, you know, when you put water with it, you know, people think, oh, it's just water and, you know, powder. It's permanent. So there's some peroxide in it to make it permanent. Um, uh, the next thing I wanted to talk about was lightening your hair. You know, a lot of people like to dye their tips, but in the long run, you're using a high lifting tint that has, you know, more peroxide in it and more bleaching properties than your regular dyes. You know, so it's going to get lighter. It may not be as light as, you know, some colors where you say it'll fade and this and that and the other, but if you want a light color or something more substantial, you know, bleaching is the way to go. Also, bleaching is reason to go to a professional because of the products that you use. They're so caustic. You know, the pH in them is really caustic, and they really are harsh on the hair. You know, so you really have to know what you're doing when you're dealing with bleaches, such as what is that? What they use? They used to use Ultra Blue and maybe Born Blonde, or those powdered bleaches that you get in a box or anything like that. And Miss Clairol has some high lifting tints that you can use like a 40 volume peroxide with to get, you know, maximum lift on it, you know. And there are other things you can put in it to make it lighter, but I'm not going to go into all that because I don't want anybody suing me. So, aside from all of that, you know, rinsing and conditioning is really very important when you color your hair. But to say, you know, that just be very careful when you do these products to, you know, do a patch test. You know, that's what they call it, when you take a portion of the color that you're going to use, put it in an inconspicuous area, you know, the back of your ear, or, you know, maybe your wrist or something like that, and give it 24 hours to see how it's going to react with, you know, you're going to get any type of redness and any kind of allergic reaction, and, you know, to see what happens, you know, because you don't want to, you know, end up at the doctor's office because you know, developed a sensitivity to these products, you know, over the course of your next retouch, you know what I'm saying? And another thing, when well, this is going back to the bleaching, I'm sorry, you know, I jump around. So going back to the bleaching, when you are applying your product to your hair, don't just put them on like you're doing shampoo, because you're not going to get full coverage. I mean, if you want to do it the at-home method, or, you know, save a few dimes or whatever, have a friend to help you with your hair, because you can't really see the back. And now look at me, I'm getting ready to talk. You can't really see the back, but you want to get good coverage, especially if you're going with a lighter color. And you don't want to overlap your color, because that's how you get those rings, and, you know, the ends are light, the roots are a little darker, and, you know, it's just crazy like that. You have to really take the time and pretty much, you know, stay on top of your retouches when you're, you know, lightening your hair, because you don't want that overlapping and, you know, just slapdash, put it on whichever way you can, you know, it'll cover it, it'll look alright. No, you don't want that, because you're damaging your hair by continuously overlapping color. You get uneven spots, you know. Just, you know, have somebody, you know, just put it where they see the dark hair, you know, and don't worry about the ends. If you're gonna do the end thing, or you want to, like you use the majority of the time, or you start there and then run it down, towards the scalp, because that way you'll get this color, like midways, because it's further away from your head, so the heat doesn't activate it here as quickly as it will here. So you start, like say you have a dark band in here, you put it on here first, let it get, leave it on there for a little while, and then put it down on your scalp, because the heat here is going to make it activate, and it'll all, hopefully, be the same color. So with your hair dye, with the bleaching especially, make sure to be very careful of what you're doing. Now, I'm giving all these speeches and all this stuff about what you should and shouldn't do, and I'm going to tell you that I do everything. No, seriously. I dye my hair, I would say, once a month, about 6 weeks, because I'm lazy. And, you can feel things happening. I've never had an allergic reaction with my hair color, but if I were to get itching or something like that, thinking, feeling that my hair was being sensitive, I would, begin to start doing patch tests, to make sure that I'm not going to have an allergic reaction and be swollen and bloated and looking like God only knows, people won't know you, And, what I use is, because my hair is very, I have a lot of gray in my hair, and what I use is, I use the old standard, Miss Clairol, and this is, I don't use black, because black is too harsh, as dark as I am complected, black is entirely too harsh for most people, because most African Americans do not have black hair. That's just not in your genetic makeup. You can say, oh, my hair is dark and it's black, it's off black. Off black is not jet black. You can dance around it all you want, you know what I'm saying? You can look at your eyebrows and they'll tell you what color your hair is. You don't have black hair. Asian, Alaskan, Hawaiian, people like that, they are more prone to have black hair than African Americans. Your cousin so-and-so, may have it, but I'm going to tell you, for the most part, African Americans do not have jet black hair. Off black maybe, but not jet black. So, when you use colors, make sure they're flattering to your skin tone. And like I said, this is the darkest brown that Miss Clairol has. It's sable brown. And this is what the sable brown does. It doesn't make it look like brown. It's very dark brown. Very dark. It's almost like an off black. When I was younger, I used to have to put a little, black in my color to darken it up some more, but as I've gotten older, your hair gets lighter, so you don't need all that darkness. And because I do have so much,